Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Sports Wrap. I'm your host, Michael Kravetz, and on today's show, we'll be talking about the Pirates and the Steelers. Now, we're going to start off today's show with the Pittsburgh Pirates. It was kind of a Jekyll and Hyde for this team on the road this past weekend and these past 3 days, and it really has been all year on the road. First, we're going to start with the Jekyll. The 3-game series against the Cardinals, which was very, very important after losing 3 of 4 to the Dodgers at home. J-Mac got the start on Friday night, and he knew coming into this, if he didn't pitch well, he might be the one that gets sent to the bullpen, because the 6-man rotation was not going to last the whole year. He pitched lights out. He regained his first-half form. He did not give up any first-inning runs, which has been an Achilles heel for him this year. And the offense didn't perform really well, but it performed just enough, and they ended up beating the Cardinals that night 2-1. In Game 2, a lot of missed opportunities by the Pirates. In the top of the ninth, they were down 5-3, and they had first and third with 1 out, and Garrett Jones is at the plate, and it's a 3-0 count. And he ends up striking out. And the Pirates only get 1 run in that inning, and they end up losing the game 5-4. And in Sunday's game, let's just say it was another marathon, just like last year. The game goes to 19 innings. And I'll admit I didn't get a chance to watch the first 4 innings of the game, but I ended up watching the last 15. The game lasted 6 hours and 7 minutes, just about 30 minutes shy of last year's 19-inning marathon in Atlanta. And I guess you could say that, minus Jerry Meals, this time the Pirates won. A clutch home run by Pedro Alvarez in the 19th, and then McCutchen adds on with a 2 RBI single. And that's pretty much all she wrote for that series, and the Pirates take 2 or 3 from the Cardinals. So you feel like, okay, they're 2 games ahead of the Cardinals for second place in the Central. They still got the number 2 slot in the wild card. They go to San Diego, where you know that the Pirates, when the last time San Diego came to Pittsburgh, just a few weeks ago, the Padres took 2 out of 3. Coming into it, the Pirates had to know, okay, this team, they feel like they can beat us, so we got to come out here and show them that we're not going to let them bully us around. The first game of the series, I don't know what happened to the offense. It looked silent. Of course, you had the fatigue from the game, so I figured, okay, their offense, they wouldn't probably get too many runs. But Edison Volquez, he pitched a great performance against the Pirates. They only got 1 run on him. They had some opportunities with runners in scoring position. They just couldn't capitalize. And the Padres ended up taking the game 3-1. The bright spots in this game, though, Hurdle had to make some bullpen moves because the bullpen was extremely tired. Kevin Correa actually volunteered to start, even though he pitched 2 innings on Sunday afternoon's game against the Cardinals. Wandy Rodriguez was actually used in the last 2 innings of that game to actually get his first win as a Pirate, and he was the scheduled starter for Monday, but Correa instead pitched, and he got through about 4 1/3 inning, and he pitched decent. He pitched all right. But the Pirates ended up calling up Kyle McPherson and Justin Wilson, obviously just like for some extra arms in the bullpen. They wouldn't be staying up here very long. And McPherson, 2 innings, scoreless relief, 2 strikeouts. I thought he looked great. And then Justin Wilson comes in the next inning, another scoreless relief inning, 3 strikeouts. I think these 2 guys should be up here. They were sent down the next day, and Qualls was reactivated from the bereavement list, and they also called Daniel McCutchen. So in Tuesday night's game, it was an exciting game to say the least. The top of the ninth, the Pirates were down 5-3, and Garrett Jones comes up, smacks a 2-run homer with 2 outs to deep center field straight away, and that is a long distance in Petco Park, and he ties the game at 5. Daniel McCutchen, though, blows it in the bottom of the 10th. He ends up giving a leadoff double to Will Venable, who was hot this entire series, and a 3-2 pitch leaves it up, and Chase Headley, who's been a thorn in the Pirates' side this year, gets the walk-off 2-run homer. McCutchen and Qualls, or McCutchen, Hurdle did a poor job of managing the game because they wanted to use him because he hasn't pitched at all. I understand that, but this is a game you had to win. And McCutchen, I don't even think has been that strong in the minors, so I don't know why he's even up here. And especially with Qualls, even though I thought he was a good addition to pick up, even though not a lot of people liked it. He had the one bad outing in relief against the Dodgers where he gave up 4 runs. He's given up 6 runs in 6 2/3 innings. I'd say give him a little bit of more time, but if he and McCutchen don't perform well, I think you got to bring in McPherson and Wilson by September 1st when the postseason rosters log in, because from what they looked like, they looked confident and they looked ready. I mean, McPherson, he wasn't even in AAA. He's in AAA for about 2 weeks. He was in AA about a month ago. So I think, especially him, he looked absolutely stellar to me. You go to last night's game, and once again, Pirates failed to convert anything on offense. McDonald had a decent game, but once again, the first inning was his own doing. It basically put the nail in his coffin. 3 runs in the first. He walked the first 3 batters he faced to walk the bases loaded. And then Carlos Quentin was about a foot away from getting a grand slam. Brings in 2 runs. The only bright spot was that Gabby Sanchez had his first home run as a Pirate. It was to center field. But it wasn't enough as the Pirates dropped the game 4-2. So they were ultimately swept by the San Diego Padres. The Pirates have now fallen to 30 and 34 on the road. They are now 8.5 games back behind the Cincinnati Reds. The Cardinals have leapfrogged them. They are now half game behind the Cardinals, and are half game behind the Cardinals, which means that they are, for the first time in about a month and a half, the Pirates, if the season ended today, the Pirates would not be in the playoffs. Los Angeles, though, recently got swept by the Dodgers, or by the San Francisco Giants, so they still remain a half game back of the Pirates. So it was really bad that the Pirates could not salvage a win against the Padres. This team just owns them. They are 18-3 against the Pirates in the last 21 games. I just can't explain why the Pirates, I don't know, they just can't seem to find their way against this Padres lineup. I mean, coming into this game, they didn't look all that scary, but Venable was a hot hitter. Their leadoff man, Everett Cabrera, seemed like he was always getting on and stealing a base, so that automatically, I mean, puts a runner in scoring position. And Headley did a lot of damage, the same as Quentin. I mean, it's unexplainable. Let's go through the numbers here for that 3-game series. The Pirates were 4 for 25 with runners in scoring position. That is barely 250. My mistake. Barely 200. 7 first inning runs allowed. That is unacceptable, because if you give up these runs early, the team feels like, okay, we got to claw back all the time, and they just can't do it most of the time. Even though the Pirates have been the comeback kids this year, second in the majors in comeback wins. The walks, too, were troubling. 13 walks this series. And then 3 errors. I mean, their defense has been solid all year, but the Monday night game, I understand because of the fatigue, they just looked a mess in the first couple innings. And another bad spot that I would say that has been occurring has been a catcher. Barajas is still slumping. He's getting a hit every now and then, but his average is still below 200. And Michael McHenry, he has been a huge disappointment as well. This is a number that I know will surprise a lot of people. His last 21 at-bats, no hits. 0 for 21 slump. In fact, his last 23, he has one hit in his last 23 at-bats. He was hitting the ball off the cover. He was hitting the cover off the ball about a week and a half ago. But ever since then, I don't know. He came up with a lot of runners in scoring position in the San Diego series. In fact, yesterday's game, he didn't do a double play. They got to get some offense from their catcher position. So, I mean, I think Barajas now will get more of the playing time since McHenry's in the slump. And with Andrew McCutchen, I really don't know what's going on with him. Ever since he got hit by Aroldis Chapman, he's just been an enigma. He's batting only around like 220, 225 since then. 2 home runs, like 21 strikeouts. It seems like every game you can expect 1 or 2 strikeouts from him now. When I watch the game, I don't feel confident that he's going to get a hit anymore, especially with runners in scoring position. He's either hitting ground balls to the left side or he's striking out on bad pitches. I mean, as a fan of the Pirates, it's frustrating for me to watch them do this badly when they're so close, to holding on to a wild card spot. So I don't know. It was just a bad road stand, and they have a much needed day off today. And as we look forward to a huge stretch of games for these Pirates, September is going to be a telltale month. They have 3 coming up with Milwaukee at home, and then 3 with St. Louis. Their next 28 games are against NL Central opponents. Huge. And 22 of the 28 are against the Brewers, the Cubs, and the Astros. The bottom 3 teams in the division. This is the Pirates' chance. This will make or break their season. I think these 6 games coming up will make or break their season. I think you have to at least take 2 or 3 from both the Brewers and Cardinals to stay in contention for the wild card and the division. The Pirates struggled at home, their last homestand. I don't see that happening again. I was actually watching MLB Tonight last night, and Billy Ripken was on there. They were talking about trade acquisitions. Do they have an impact, or do you get rid of them? Pretty much like, have they helped, or were they pretty much a waste? Wandy Rodriguez's name was up there. Bill Ripken actually thinks that he will make an impact and that the Pirates will make the playoffs. I'm a little surprised because I figured after this downfall, most analysts would probably give up on them, but it's kind of comforting knowing that you see some of the analysts, say like, okay, they still believe the Pirates are going to make it. Wandy Rodriguez gets to start tomorrow night against Mike Fiers, who's been decent for the Brewers. He has to come out. He has to pitch great. The offense has to come out and just get enough to win this game. Wandy Rodriguez, A.J. Burnett, and James McDonald are the top 3. They have to perform. They will be the key to this team making the playoffs. If they have more than 1 bad performance left in the season, this team will not make the playoffs. It's that simple. Pitching will determine how far this team goes. It was already determined by the beginning of this year. They had that month and a half where their offense was carrying the club when the pitching was doing good to average. Now that the pitching is slumping, the offense has to step it up. So if you get the good pitching with the good offense, that's the formula to win. So it will be interesting to see exactly how the Pirates perform. I'm expecting a big crowd there for the Milwaukee series, and I'm hoping for the St. Louis series because that's going to be huge. I'm going to try and get down there to a game. Hopefully the fans come out because the Pirates, they need the fans behind them. And with 17 games remaining on the road and 22 and 21, remaining at home, they got to realize we were the best home team in baseball just a few weeks ago, and we can gain that back because we've got a lot of home games left. So hopefully by our next recording, I'll be talking about the Pirates, back in a wild card spot, closer to the division. We'll see, but that ends part 1, and for the next part, we'll be talking about the Steelers.